r/AskReddit. What happened to the cool kids from your school after they graduated? Coolest kid in my school was one of those charismatic prodigies. He got full ride scholarships, he partied with the jocks, played magic with the nerds, talked to me about building computers and always kicked my ass at Counter-Strike. And he played 4 instruments before he was 15. I think he got a degree in chemical engineering, then went back for 1 year to get a music theory degree too. Then after 5 years of working he decided that he wanted to be a doctor, so he went back to med school and eventually started his own practice. Farkin dude had cheat codes on. One of those people you just kind of wish would go into politics. One went to jail for drug possession with intent to sell, one dropped out of college and works at a mall kiosk, another quit his cushy corporate job and started a non-profit that provides shelter, food and job resources to homeless single mothers and their children. I think most of them have done very well. One of them, the best-looking, most athletic boy in my school, died from ALS several years ago. That really rocked me for some reason. I didn't even really know the guy. He was cool, but he seemed like a decent person. I grew up with a guy, our families were friends, we'd gone to the same school for most of our lives. I'd spent countless days at their house with his sister growing up. I was 18, found out he'd passed away from a motorcycle accident. I hadn't seen him or his family in years, but I cried so hard that night. He was a great guy, had a great heart, the kind of guy everyone loved. Hundreds turned up for his funeral, mostly kids from the school we'd all gone to. It was incredibly sad. Well, the captain of the cheerleading squad left after graduation, but only long enough to go to university and get a teaching degree. She came back to the school as a teacher, became the faculty advisor for the cheerleading squad and recently retired. So, she stayed in high school for 30 years. They all got fake tits, married old bald guys for a few years, popped out a kid or two, then took off with half his money. Now they drink way too much wine, post about how being a stay-at-home mom is the hardest job ever, and have leather skin and try to sell me makeup on FB. Basically, I don't really know about most of them. The one girl who was like the queen bee in my class ended up getting pregnant at 20 by her longtime boyfriend, returning home while she had the baby, and then finished school locally. I think she married the boyfriend and they're still married. I should look that up. Her son should be in his mid-20s now. I remember finding out about this when I was preparing for a semester abroad, and how different our lives immediately became. Another kid from a few years before me owns a bar and dabbles in music. Seems pretty happy. A girl from that same class, who was going to go out and conquer Broadway, ended up on a soap for a few years, then did audiobook narrations, ended up in Las Vegas. She's now divorced and from the little bit I've seen on Facebook, is not aging well. Quite a fall, because, whoa, she was untouchable in high school. A couple of the popular girls came out as lesbians. Looking back, how did we not know? A few other people, I went to my 25th last year, seemed to be normal suburban moms and dads, working, taking care of the house, etc., etc. I remember finding out about this when I was preparing for a semester abroad, and how different our lives immediately became. It's so strange, at least to me, how lives diverge. My 2 best friends from school are both married in our hometown, both with kid no 2 on the way. I'm currently in an entirely different country, after having lived in 3 countries in 3 years, doing a research stay for my PhD. They get freaked out by flying, I get freaked out when I have to hold a baby. For most, I genuinely don't know. For one boy, he had dreams of moving down south to get away from the cold winters, as well as experience life in a bigger city. A big aspiration was also to break into the music industry. A very polite, happy, charismatic boy that everyone liked. He did make it down south, had some steady work, and even was playing music here and there. You know how sometimes you get certain feelings about someone, but you don't know why. Little things they say and do just cause you to get a particular aura from them. I always got a feeling that he was carrying a lot of sadness internally. I remember him getting a little defensive about smoking marijuana, stating that he liked the way it made him feel. This feeling of joy led him down a destructive path of drug experimentation in order to find greater joy. He overdosed and died this past weekend. Brandon took my gaming laptop since he doesn't have a job, and his dad kicked him out. Jessica got pregnant like not even 6 months after graduating, and is no longer going on that awesome anime trip to Japan she always kept talking about. Paul was doing fine for a year, but then he got charged with grabbing an underage girl's boob with her dad watching, and he got out like 3 months ago. Nate is still in Upper Me, and works at a brewery that I know of so far. I still have yet to take him up on that hangout sesh. Bethany did show up at my town one time since her brother was now clinically insane. I still had a crush on her though. She stayed the night at my place, and I dropped her back home the next day. She didn't talk to me after that. About a year goes by, and she is looking pasty white, and got fat, and has a kid as well. Brianna hasn't changed at all. She's still into her drawings, and I check out her DeviantArt page from time to time. Her sister went to a different country, Europe or something and is doing good. Fark and loudmouth Rowdy Kyle got put in the slammer, because he punched a guy too hard at a party. The guy fell off a wooden porch, and died. Steven just walked off the face of the earth. Not a single blip of info. Last info I got was a post he made on FB back in like 2012 talking about a football match. Jordan followed his scholarship through just like his dad wanted him to. I wanted him to stay in town, but who am I stop him from obtaining his dreams? I just wish he would visit so I could have a use for my second player controller. Some of them became well-adjusted adults with successful careers and are very happy in life, others though became total train wrecks. The group of girls I used to hang out with that were considered edgy and cool ended up being complete shitshows with serious alcohol and addiction problems. A lot of them suffer from crippling mental health issues as well. It's really sad actually BC they had so much promise and potential. I hope they get the help they need. Well, there were the actually cool kids who are now happy, successful people, with fulfilling lives, and then there were the not really cool kids who are in MLMs, engaged to convicted child molesters, or in prison for killing one of their kids while driving super high and drunk with 3 other small children in the car. The actually cool kids were kind to everyone, and everyone liked them because of it. The not actually cool kids took the stereotype to heart and lived it out, unfortunately. I'm in my 50s, so some of the cool kids, along with the regular kids, have died of one thing or another. The ones who had wealthy parents are, as far as I know, still wealthy, either from learning the family business or through inheritance, or a combination of the two. Some of the women are still quite good looking, while some are not. Most of the guys are fat and or bald, although one guy moved out west where the sun shines and started a business that involves a lot of physical labor. He hasn't gotten fat or bald, but his skin is more sun damaged than average. As far as careers are concerned, I would say all of them have fared better than me, but that's a pretty low bar to hop over. Jake and Ashley were married that spring. She immediately realized it was a mistake and began a decades-long affair, finally divorcing Jake and claiming sole custody of their child. Jake never saw his son again. The Rickster finally found the courage to tell his parents he was gay. They hung up the phone and haven't spoken to him since. Bookworm Beth went to Harvard and met the man of her dreams. He gave her HPV and borrowed $1,400 he has yet to pay back. Buck finally got his act together. Unfortunately, a truck accident would claim both arms and his wiener. He eats through a tube, and pees through a different tube. After graduation, Emily was never seen again. If you have any information as to the whereabouts of this man, please contact the police. And of course Mrs. Henderson. She died alone. These were my best friends. I really miss them. It's too bad I drowned in a pool when I was 8. One girl works in a strip club now, one of the cliques still have their bonfire parties, some of them are in decent colleges but with easy majors, one is a bartender, one high school is married now. The girl was a talented girl, she ended up having a baby, and the guy, well, who knows what he does for money. He was always smoking weed. The girl is always trying to be a YouTube vlog mom, and another mom was an attractive girl but had a baby and is trying to be a viral mom on social media. Many of the athletes who thought were big shots go to local uni but nothing impressive, and others lost scholarships due to sexual activities with underage girls. They always had their thinking with the wrong head. The remainder are still in school pursuing their degree like me. One became a school principal and has basically no digital footprint. I've been low-key searching for her for 10 years now, and the only thing I've found is that she's continued to be awesome from newsletter results. Both her parents were teachers and super chill when she went from super hardcore units to super easy units and almost got the equivalent of valedictorian, ducks. 2 were geniuses but lazy. The SAT equivalent indicated they were way smarter than I was. Used his scholarship to get into university in chem engineering. Something else, failed out. Repeated the trick at another university, failed out. Went to business school, failed out. One of the really hot girls became a personal trainer. She's still really hot, only now she has 3 kids and does Instagram/personal trainer for a living. Most of the beautiful girls chilled and became a little more down to earth. Many have found personal success in various forms. Most became housewives raising kids and seemed to be happy. Most of the guys ended up working for the mining companies. Good money to be made there. Aussies can probably guess where I grew up in one shot just from that description alone. One of the guys who was cool but used to bully me got beaten to death Christmas Eve after we graduated. The guy was an asshole all the years of high school, ran his mouth off at the wrong person, and they came back with friends. They admitted to nothing, got a good lawyer, and walked away free, even though I know 100% for sure that they did it and had zero remorse. I felt sorry for his girlfriend at the time and his parents, but 5 years of shit doesn't tend to make you too empathetic. Also, I think what happened to the less cool kids at my school is way more interesting.
I'd love it if you liked and subscribed.